Hey, you guys, welcome back to our series of conversations with some amazing Afro Brazilians. We're doing these conversations in English because I want to build this, as they call it, ligação between Afro Brazilians and the English speaking world, and obviously, especially African Americans. Here with me today, we have two very special guests. Hey, Apollo. I think he wants to he wants to leave still. We have two special guests today. Um, First, obviously, we have Humberto Baltar, who is a father, because that's the topic today. And we have his son Apollo. Hey, Apollo. But let me introduce you to Humberto and explain to you why this conversation that we're going to have today is so important. Hey, he's having a good time now. So, Humberto Baltar is an English teacher, translator, and interpreter. As the director of HB Consulting, he offers personalized English courses at a discount rate to the Black community. He is also the creator of the collective Pais Pretos Presentes, which translates into present Black fathers. And this is a group that supports and welcomes Black fathers and mothers. And he is also married to Queen Dinah and is the father of Prince Apollo. Hey, Apollo. And today, as you guys know, today we are talking about just what it means to be a Black father in Brazil and how Humberto manages that. And Humberto, I think given what's going on around the world, I want to ask you some serious questions because I think they apply to Brazil too. But before I start my questions, Humberto, how are you? How are you doing in Brazil?
Yeah, we are fine. Surprisingly, this scenario of pandemic and quarantine let me stay more with my child.
Oh,
So I had the opportunity to see he learn to walk, and this would not be
nice.
possible. Yeah, if I were working, I wouldn't have this privilege. So I saw Apollo having his first steps, so it was
Nice.
amazing to see that. And now he's starting to talk too.
Nice.
So yeah, because of social isolation, I can be a present father. Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to stay with him so much time if I were working. So that's the good side for me.
I know he wants to get up. Yeah, I know, Apollo. I know you want to run around.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to start off with the serious questions up front just to get our audience. Let's just jump right in. So, and actually, before I start, I just want to say Humberto Baltar helped me with one of my most popular articles that I did 4 years ago. The article was about, it focused on why middle class and upper class Black men tend to marry white women in Brazil. And Humberto Baltar said, I am marrying a Black woman. That was 4 years ago. And not only did he marry a Black woman, his queen, he also has a Black child. So he stayed true to his word. So Humberto, you know what's going on around the world right now. Well, obviously in America, we there is a lot of violence against particularly against young Black men, and we saw what happened to George Floyd. And actually, we know that this happens in Brazil as well. My question to you is, given that you have a young Afro-Brazilian child, like how do you go about raising a young Black man, a young Black boy in a country where it is actually dangerous for them to just be themselves and be free? How do you do that? Or what, you just tell me what's going on in your mind right now.
Yeah, actually, I guess I live every moment like it is the last one because I'm really not sure if I may, get shots, or I
Mhm.
may be confused as a criminal or something,
Mhm.
because we have real examples of situations like that. There was a family which was who was shot in a car
Mhm.
by the army not long ago. So it is a reality here.
Mhm.
So
So you're
I
saying
really
that
learned
you still have that fear for yourself. Like you even have that fear for yourself.
exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. I guess that my biggest fear in life is to leave an orphan child, to leave my son orphan. And this is really, really serious. And that's why I enjoy every little second with him, because we never know. In Rio de Janeiro, you never know. My wife, she has a black car, and I had never driven her car for like 2.5 years. Just now that I started driving, because I have to, because she's working and I have to do the shopping. But the chances of being like taken for a criminal, if you are driving a car, a black car, and you're being a black guy, are really high here in this neighborhood where we live.
Really?
So it is. It is. It's pretty hard here, and we are planning to move. We have bought an apartment, so we are waiting for the apartment to get ready,
Mhm.
and then as soon as the apartment is set, we are leaving, because it is really not safe for black men around here.
I mean,
So
are there areas in Rio that you would say are safer for black men, young black kids?
no, no, I can't say that there is a safe place, but a place like here in Praça Seca, there are lots of police
Yeah.
operations, like all the time.
Mhm.
And this scenario is way more dangerous for Black people.
Mhm.
So that's why I don't see myself living here for long, although it's an amazing place.
Mm.
It's a two-story house with a swimming pool. We have two dogs. It's really nice, but unfortunately, it is not safe to raise
Mm.
my child here.
Man. And so tell me, so Humberto, let's go back to your youth. And you actually, when I did my first article with you about 4 years ago, you revealed some very unique circumstances that in which you grew up in as a young black man with a black mother who was working. Can you explain to us your childhood and how that impacted how you're raising your kid right now?
Yeah, my childhood had a very strong impact on the man I am now, because I used to live in I would say, 12 square meter room. My mother was a maid. She was working as a maid in a house, and I used to live in that place with her for the first 12 years of my life. So
First 12
that
years you
was
lived in the room with her.
exactly,
Wow.
exactly. It was in a back room where people used to store things before she went working there. And at that time, it was not common for people to hire maids who had children. So
It
she
was
had
common
this.
or it wasn't common?
Sorry,
Did you say it was common or was not common?
was not common,
Oh wow.
because children were seen as problems, because how can you focus at work if you have a baby?
Mm.
So my mother got this job to work in this house as a cleaner and maid, and I was raised
Mm.
there.
And
And the impact
mhm.
was that I had to ask for permission for everything.
Wow. Hey.
Permission to turn on the television, to to open the fridge, like. So it had a great impact on my self-esteem, I would
Mm.
say. Mama.
In what way? Can you did you feel like you were treated equally with as the other? I mean, did you grow up with other kids? Were there other kids in the house?
Yeah. There were a brother and a sister.
Mhm.
We grew up together,
Mhm.
but of course, treatment couldn't be the same because I was the maid's child, you know.
Mhm.
So it's not the same, you know. Although there is a tradition here in Brazil as saying that the maid is like the family, it's like a
Mhm.
family member. People say that, but we know it isn't. Yeah. So I am proof of that. So if I were like family, I wouldn't have to ask for permission to open the fridge to drink a glass of Coke, for example, or
Mhm.
to turn on the TV or play a video game, you know?
Mhm.
So the impact was that I didn't see myself having those things, you know? I didn't see myself as an independent man. So
Mhm.
I would say that this brought me issues up to nowadays. In therapy sessions, I would see myself talking about this childhood time. So I
Mhm.
could see that there is a still some stronger marks, I would say, in
Mhm.
my personality, in my self-esteem, in the way I see myself,
Mhm.
due to the way I was raised in that house. Of course, I had a great school, I had good education,
Mhm.
but I didn't have a present father. So it was
Mhm.
just me and my mother. And this was also, I would say, pretty negative for my character as a man, because I nowadays I understand that it's really important to have the father figure
Mhm.
beside you, because when you don't you have to forge your character, you know, you don't have someone to mirror yourself, like
Mhm.
an example.
Mhm.
I didn't have a role model, you know, a male model.
Mhm.
Apollo wants to,
Hey, Apollo. He's so
yeah, he wants to have the
ready to get
stage,
up.
share the stage.
So, but tell me now. I'm gonna be honest. So I know so many Afro Brazilian people in Rio and across Brazil, and I've met very few Afro Brazilians who grew up with a present father. Can you speak on whether or not your experience growing up reflected most Afro Brazilians, or was your experience atypical, not typical? Like, what are Black fathers? Can we say that in general, Black fathers are present in Brazil?
Yeah, they are, but the media also reinforces this stereotype of the absent black father. You know,
Mhm.
like there's been research about that. All soap opera characters, for example, they always used to be like cheating husbands, drunk husbands, abusive husbands, you know, violent and never present fathers. So I believe that there is a huge impact on every child and
Mhm.
every man as a husband if they don't have references,
Mm.
whether in their families or in the media, because this makes you mirror yourself. You know, like if you don't have references, you don't believe, you don't see why your history would be different. You don't have
Mhm.
reasons to believe because
Mhm.
you don't have any example to see yourself. You
Mhm.
know, I didn't have this example, so even nowadays I have to struggle with negative beliefs. You know, and I have to push myself into
Mhm.
believing that I can be a great husband, I can be an excellent father,
Mhm.
although every day in the media they say otherwise. And I
Mm.
have and I think that we all have to be aware of this, that there is a plan, a strategic plan to
Mhm.
deconstruct the image of the black father, the black husbands,
Mhm.
because they don't see black families with good eyes here in Brazil.
Mm.
I really think it's like a plan. Yeah, it's a plan. You never see happy black families in the media.
That's true.
This is a mystery. Yeah. TV shows, series, soap operas, Brazilian movies, they never have a black husband, black wife, and kids, and in a happy scenario. It's really, really rare here. I can
Very
remember
rare.
just two or three examples in all my life. So
And
I think
before we,
it's an agenda, a racial agenda, I
yeah,
guess.
I agree. And before we continue about your project, can you like what did your mother like? Obviously, your mother did an amazing job raising you. I mean, what did she do as a single black woman in Brazil to make sure that you know got a good education, went to college? Like, did she, or would you just say she did what any other parent does? You know, take care of their kid, or do?
Yeah, actually, the lack of assistance, the lack of guidance was my greatest guidance because I didn't have anyone to advise, to counsel.
Mhm.
So I had to forge that, like pretend to myself that I had that person because she would work so hard, like
Really?
from early in the morning to late at night. She wouldn't have any even mind, to ask if I had homework or to see my notebooks or things like that. So I didn't have this reference. My
Mm.
father was absent. He was a provider. He would pay my school materials, my foods, clothes, etc. But he would never ask how I was or talk about my fears, my anxieties, my feelings. I didn't have this kind of support, and this has a very strong consequence later
Mm.
because I became a really, I would say, shameful guy, because I didn't value relationships because I didn't have a relationship myself with my
Mhm.
parents. And so
Mhm.
I didn't value this. And I learned through pain, like making
Mhm.
people suffer and being not of the best friends, not the best boyfriends. And then I could meet other people who would share experiences with me, principally the people, the women involved in the African womanism, which is
Mm.
a really interesting philosophy. Yeah, Azanjari, we have Catiusa Ribeiro. They're really, really great friends. And I think
Mhm.
that their friendship helped me a lot because I could deconstruct toxic patterns of masculinity
Mhm.
and without demonizing myself, because I think that this is something that's unwillingly feminism sometimes does. Because if you are seen as an evil guy or something,
Mhm.
I guess it's harder for you to listen to what people have to say. And Womanism Africana sees us all as brothers and sisters. And I
Mhm.
believe this was really, really important for me. And
And
even nowadays,
when did you first get involved with womanism? Because I've seen a huge growth in womanism, African womanism spreading in Brazil in the last 2 years. So was it recent or was it even before then?
it was in 2016.
Oh wow. Okay.
16. And something interesting that I learned is that it was important to shield myself. I would have to protect my relationships, protect the energies that I was cultivating. And this knowledge was essential for me. I could say that I disappeared the moment I knew my girlfriend at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
disappeared from my friendships, from my places I used to go because it was pretty toxic. Most of my friends they would cheat their girlfriends. They would
Mm-hmm.
not not value their relationships. So how would I have happy relationships if I was together with those guys, walking around with them? So I could see that it was important for me to take a break, and self isolation was really, really powerful, a powerful tool for me. I think that's also why this moment now of
Mm-hmm.
social isolation is not so hard for me, because I'm kind of used to this. In
Mm-hmm.
some aspects of life, I think it is important to do this. If you want to reach a certain mindset in your
Mm-hmm.
life, you have to, I guess, stay together with those who are cultivating the same states of minds you are.
That's
And
true.
unfortunately, I don't see many people here in Rio, cultivating family values. Even those who claim to be African followers
Mm-hmm.
or African traditionalists, I see that many people just use this rhetoric to, you know, um, I would say, enchant some people. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to be famous, to be popular, sometimes to sell workshops or stuff. But we see few people really willing to live Africa values as they are. You have a book like, for example, The Intimacy of Spirituality, which is
Mm-hmm.
an amazing book by Sommer. And you see the values there. For example, they say there that you shouldn't choose a girlfriend or a wife based on physical attraction. And this goes against what people do around here. People
Mm-hmm.
here first look hair, hairstyle, clothing. If people are smart clothes and things like that. But in Africa teachings, you should look first at people's values, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I gave myself the right to do for the first time in my life. I saw Tainá in a completely new way, and I met her mother. We
Mm-hmm.
would have lunch together quite often,
Mm-hmm.
me and her mother, and I could see the values by which Taina was raised, and
Mm-hmm.
then I saw that there was complicity there, and there was a correspondence with what I was looking for. And then I decided to marry her. I decided to marry her because of her mother and her mother's values first,
Mm-hmm.
because then I could see what I was doing, and it was the best choice I made in our relationship, because nowadays I see that we grow stronger and stronger because of the values we share.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I
And
guess, that
briefly,
what keeps relationships.
for our audience, can
Yeah.
you? I have a vague, kind of a somewhat vague notion of what is African womanism. So, can you explain to our audience what is African womanism?
Okay, so basically is following ancient principles, ancient African principles to guide your life. So I guess that the closest thing we have to compare is feminism. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that by contrasting both, it's easier. So while in feminism we use Western patterns to guide ourselves, what we want from men, what we want from relationships, what we want from our careers. In African womanism, we use ancient principles from Africa, like one example of principle that goes completely in another way from feminism is like community is the center.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that self-promotion is really strong in feminism, and the tendency is to isolate yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be on top, you want to be alone ultimately, because there can't be many people on top.
Mm-hmm.
So the higher you go, the loneliest you get. And this is really, really painful. And many women, especially, see themselves in that spot as they grow more and more successful. And in African womanism, you don't need to be alone to be successful. It's quite the opposite. You need to be in accordance with ancestral principles, in accordance with other people who are helping you in the process. And I think this is really, really important. I guess this changed my life completely. This idea that I shouldn't look for myself as just one person who has to find his way in life, who has to win to be the winner, and be the one. And the best thing in life, in my life, was to get rid of this notion and to embrace the collectiveness. Nowadays, my life is guided by my wife, my mother-in-law, my mother, the fathers that I talk to in our group. They teach me a lot how to be better for my son, to my wife. And nowadays, I don't see myself as an only person anymore. And I guess this way makes all the difference.
I want to remind our audience that if you have any questions, please post it in the comment section. We're taking questions now. I really need to read up more about African womanism because I'm very intrigued. Like I've seen the growth of Black feminism in Brazil, but I've also seen the growth of African womanism as well. So it's very interesting to hear a Black man talk about it from his perspective. I like that. Okay. So let's talk about Pais Pretos Presentes. How did you come up with this? Tell us about your collective, Pais Pretos Presentes, and I'll bring it up on Instagram.
Yeah, I remember that in 2016, a girl called me on WhatsApp saying that she wanted to take her life because she wouldn't stand so much suffering anymore. And then I didn't know what to do because I guess it was the first time it happened to me. Somebody called me late at night saying that they were going to take her life. And I asked her if we could pray together. That was the first thing I thought about. And then she agreed. We prayed together, and I asked if we could visit her. And then she agreed. So my wife and a group of people from their church went to her house, and then they prayed together. They helped her. And she said that she felt alone. She opened up, and nowadays she's pretty much settled. She's settled. She's more focused. And since then, since 2016, I thought, oh my God, it would be so nice if I could be available at all the time, for people who were in need. I wish I could do that, but I can't because I'm just one. I have a family, I have my stuff. So I thought, what if we could have a group to do this? But then life came, we got engaged, we got married, and then this idea was kind of lost. And then one day before Father's Day in 2018, I got to know that I was going to be a father. And then this idea came back again, this idea of having a collective. And I thought, wow, now we can help people who have questions about fatherhood, motherhood, and even Black life in general. Why not? So I decided, together with my wife, to open a group for fathers. And she opened a group for Black mothers. And
do they have an Instagram as well? Is there like a
there is Presents Black Mothers, Mães Pretas Presentes.
I gotta bring it up. Okay, let me get that one too.
Yeah. We have a group for fathers and a group for mothers, And it's very, very nice.
What's the name of the Instagram?
Huh?
Is there an Instagram?
Yeah, on Pais Pretos Presentes Instagram, you have a link in the profile to join, and in this link you have the shortcuts to this group.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
cool.
Apollo is, come on, Apollo. There is a link there. And in this link, you can join the groups, on WhatsApp.
Oh
Yeah, that's
wow.
it.
Wow, there's
So you have
WhatsApp groups,
links.
Instagram, Facebook. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, we have a group study on Telegram. We are studying the spirit of intimacy, chapter 4, next Sunday. Every
Wow.
Sunday
Can I
from 5
join?
to 6.
Is it for single
Yeah,
black
of
women?
course. Of course, of course. Everybody's welcome in our groups, not only fathers and mothers, but
Oh really?
also those who would like to be, yeah, the wannabes, of course. As I said before, together we are way stronger. So we don't believe in walking alone. So it's
Okay, cool.
important to get together, share experiences, and we have been growing a lot through that. Through that. So I really encourage you to join us.
So tell me what type of questions come up the most, or what type of concerns come up with the most among black fathers versus among black mothers in Brazil, in your group?
Yeah, 5 days ago, we got an audio from a woman who was really, really sad. She was asking, why is it that black men don't value solo or single mothers? Because
Mm,
every guy would approach her with an idea, just like going to her home and staying for the night and then leaving.
mm,
And she was tired of that. So she sent us an audio, almost crying. And
mm,
my wife took the time to talk to her. And this is one example of things that happen a lot, and
mm,
men also talk about how we are not seen as humans. Many
mm,
people complain a lot about this because in our racist society, black man is deprived from their humanity. We are
mm,
seen as like beasts, creatures. I remember that in Big Brother edition, the last edition,
mm,
Babu was called a monster in an
mm,
argument. So this illustrates perfectly what I'm talking about. So people are really encouraged to see black men as monsters. So and then sometimes we really do become that monster. We
in what
have
way?
fathers. Yeah, we have fathers who said that. My God, yesterday I yelled at my wife and she looked at me scared as if she thought I was going to hit her, And I was afraid of the fear in her eyes. So please help me. How can I
Mm,
become less aggressive? Can you
mm,
can you do something? And then this is a very common request from black fathers and black
mm,
men in general because we suffer so much racism, so much micro violence episodes daily on a daily basis that most of us, because of weakness, we end up, putting it out in our kids, in our
mm,
wives at home. So it
mm,
happens a lot.
mm,
So that's why it's so important to have a group of other black men to share these experiences and specifically black because white men don't suffer this daily pressure of
mm,
because their skin color, that's why it is so important because some people ask us why black fathers, why not just fathers, why not welcome everybody.
mm,
We have our issues, we have our specific issues, and we have to address those issues because they are urgent.
mm.
Yesterday, one of our brothers took his life. So a guy
No,
committed suicide. Yeah,
in
it
re
was pretty sad. Yeah, people were on Facebook. Everybody's talking about it. It's pretty sad because not everybody is dealing with this isolation of the pandemic. I'm married. I have a black child. I have two dogs. I have my mother-in-law. I'm like it's like a collective here. We have one, two, three, four people, two dogs. It's like fun, I could say. But imagine people who are in a rented place, in a small place, a cubicle, like 10 by 10 meters,
Mhm.
10 square meters. Sometimes people are very poor and they live in pretty small places and you can't leave. Sometimes you don't have even a window. This
Mhm.
is crazy. This isn't life. And many people, many black people are in this condition nowadays.
That
So
is true.
they need to share their feelings, share their fears, their anxiety with other people. And that's why I believe collectives like Pais Pretos Presentes are so important
Mhm.
because the thing that most people under depression have in common is that all of them feel isolated and alone, very lonely.
Mhm.
So we have to take our hands, embrace our friends, our brothers, our sisters. We have to stay together. And specifically, Black community, because we
Mhm.
have our specific pains.
Mhm.
I like to stress this because many people like to come with a relative view saying that we shouldn't segregate ourselves, separate in colors. You know this, yeah?
Mhm.
So I believe it is important to stress this because Black people are dying daily, on a daily basis, be it murdered, like we had our poor João
João Pedro.
Pedro,
Mhm.
João Pedro recently, and people who die by COVID-19 because Black community is the one which uses more the public health system, which is a
Mhm.
complete mess.
Mhm.
And also because of depression, we are the community which most commits suicides, Black
Mhm.
community. And we are also number one in the rank of homelessness. So we really need to have spaces where we can feel, embraced, welcome, and heard, especially because nobody wants to hear us.
Mhm.
And especially men, because women have some initiatives already, but we
Mhm.
see very few initiatives made for Black men. So that's
That's
why
true.
we decided to have separate things, one for men, another for women, another for white people who have Black children as
Hmm.
well.
Okay.
We have a separate groups. Yeah, I think it's important too because nowadays they want to get to know the cause, get to know how to empower their kids. Many people say it is not possible for white parents to empower Black kids, but I think it has to be possible because they
Mhm.
have adopted kids, they have step children. So what can they do? We have to
Mhm.
help those people because we have to help those kids.
Mhm.
They will grow older. So we
So I
cannot
have,
turn a blind eye in those people.
I have a question. Do you find has your group been able to attract um Black fathers a div- from various economic levels?
Yeah, because we try to change to vary our language because this is something very important that you mentioned because I have always seen that people use some terms, some terminology when they're discussing masculinity that I always thought, my goodness, a guy who lives in a community will
Mhm.
never uh, will never see himself in this
What's
because I
example?
remember,
Give me an example.
yeah, I went to an event and the guy said, eu sou atravessado por uma heteronormatividade. And then I said, my God, if you tell, if a regular guy hears this sentence, I'm crossed by some kind of heteronormativity, I think this guy will just, leave the place. He will leave the room.
So how would you say
Yeah, we
the
have
same
to
thing
speak.
to a man from a community, from a favela? How would you say that same thing to him?
Yeah, there is this idea of men are superior, and this is contaminating me.
Okay, okay,
So
hey.
that's it. We have to translate because my goodness, we have to carry a dictionary to listen to those guys nowadays. So I think that, yeah, it's pretty hard.
So do
So
do
I
you
guess
find
it is
it
important
easier
for
to
us to
attract?
make ourselves intelligible.
do you find it easier to attract men of from favelas, or is it more difficult?
Very difficult because they don't believe in their humanity. It was taken from them. So they really, most of these guys, I would say, they see themselves as beasts because even funk songs, for
Hmm.
example, which people praise as local culture that we have to value. I agree, but there are many lyrics that promote this idea and this agenda that black men are sex machine. This
Yeah.
is very, very nocive, in my opinion. This is really
Hmm.
toxic. There
Hmm.
is no other words. I don't like the word toxic, but it is toxic because if the guy believes he's a sex machine, why would he value a black woman? Why would he marry a black woman? What's the point? What's the purpose of marrying? If
Hmm.
women are just supposed to make love, just to have sex, so there is no point in having a family if you believe you are a sex machine. So we really have to deconstruct this narrative,
Hmm.
and this is part of our agenda in Pais Pretos Presentes. I think we have to do this on a daily basis. We
And is
always
there
bring
a specific way that you deconstruct this image of black men being a beast? How do you help someone to actually take apart this image that they have of themselves?
yeah, real examples. For example, I remember one instance that a guy said, "Wow, today I did it." That's what he said in the group. I did it. People say, "Did what? What happened?" And then he said, "For the first time in my life, I could say to my wife that I was tired and I didn't want to have sex." And then people said, "Wow, really? Why?" And then later, like 10 minutes later, many guys were saying the same, that they were afraid to tell their spouses that they wouldn't want, to have sex, be it because they were tired, be it because they had a headache or a problem at the work, I don't know, something. So most men, especially black men, they will pretend to be horny or excited when they're not, because there is a whole narrative which says black men are sex machines. And this
Mm.
is just one little example to show that when you have room to open yourself, to pour your heart out, other people see themselves in what you're saying, and then they feel confident to open themselves too. And
Mm.
then a miracle happens. People open to change. And then we see people becoming, less uh, toxic, again, these words, because they see that they don't have to reproduce this
Mm.
model which was pushed, into their lives since childhood. I say since childhood because even I, when I was like 8 or 9, even women in my family would ask how many girlfriends I had at school. If I
Mm.
had one, two, three. So people teach us that we have to have more than one girlfriend, even when we are
Mm.
kids.
That's true.
So
That is so true. Uh-huh.
it is complicated. So how can we not be toxic if people teach us to be? I remember that my grandmother wouldn't let me do the dishes. She said my sister had to do the dishes because it was her role.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't sweep the floor or do the dishes because my grandma wouldn't let me. It was my sister's job to clean the house, and I would play video game or draw or do anything else. So
Mm.
I don't like to say that, but sometimes women are part of the issue.
Yeah.
So we have to deconstruct these patterns. We have to change our behavior, not only men but also women. And I think it's a collective job. That's why I believe in men and women together in this mission. I
Hmm.
know that there are lots of groups of men which forbids the presence of women because they say men need to have their own space. I
Hmm.
agree to a certain extent, but women also share a lot of experiences, positive and negative, and we can learn a lot from them.
Hmm.
I think June 10th, there's going to be a cycle to discuss masculinity, and the person who will be hosting the event is a woman, Magda Magalhães. She's the owner of Mãe Atual channel on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to be part of that because I really want to see how it's going to be, because it will be the first time I will be in a circle like that, for men, designed by a woman, and with a woman having the questions and trying to make us find a common ground in the
Mm.
topics discussed. So I'm really eager to see how it's gonna go. Yeah.
We actually have a question from our audience from Brian Jones. He asks, Mr. Humberto, as a professor, have you experienced racism from your colleagues or school officials or even your students?
Yeah, my very first class, I guess, yeah, in a cultura inglesa language school, I came to class and people asked me when the teacher was coming. And then I was like, what? But I had like a joke. I said, I don't know. Then I sat down, let's wait for the teacher. And then I stayed waiting for the teacher for like 10 minutes. And then, oops, I guess the teacher is me. Let's get started.
How did they react?
Yeah, they were like, blushed because most of them were white. So everybody blushed. But I think that's a sense of humor is a good way, a good escape, I would say, not to suffer. Humor is a good shield. I like humor as a shield. And from colleagues, it happens all the time as well. People question our capacity all the time. And we always have to prove our qualification. And
Mm.
this is really, really tiring, because not only college, but also after college, you have to prove your capacity all the time. For
Mm.
example, I was invited for two two interviews this week, and I didn't have to, but I mentioned this in the WhatsApp group of my school so that people can know that other people around are recognizing what I do. You know,
Uh-huh.
so I have to raise my my status because people wouldn't do it by themselves. So I have to push this. So for example, yesterday I told them that Portal Pais e Filhos invited me to talk about black parenting. And Canal Futura is calling me to have an interview, a live broadcast next week. I also mentioned in the group so that they can see that I'm here. I'm doing my job. My job is being recognized. I have to remember to remind those people that I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing my homework.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad, but it happens.
And so, oops, we actually have another question. Um, at Colbin Renaissance asks, is your group in communication with any African American groups?
Yeah. We have Future Fathers. From Future Fathers is from not American, it's from England. It's
Oh, okay,
really
cool.
nice. I like very much because this guy he teaches recipes, hairstyles for his daughter. It's
Ah,
really
nice.
amazing. I like very much. And in the United States, we have the Dad Gang, which is amazing.
The what?
The Dad Gang.
Okay. I
Yeah,
never heard of
Black
it.
Dad Gang. Yeah, it's amazing. They send us lots of content, and then I translate and I post lots of things. It's pretty useful, I guess, because here in Brazil we don't have black representativeness when
Yes,
we talk about fatherhood.
that's true.
Sometimes I go to my pediatrician, for example, and the receptionist would like talk just to my wife, ask questions about Apollo to my wife as if I weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Like his weight, his I don't know, temperature, the last time he got sick, if
Mm-hmm.
he's eating okay. So every question about the baby is addressed to the mother.
Mm-hmm.
The father is like a non-existent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know that maybe they can think that I'm not the father because it happens a lot, single black mothers. But again, it's a racist idea that because a woman, because a mother is there, she will
Mm-hmm.
necessarily be single. The guy will be a brother or a friend or something like that. So we always have to deconstruct this. So what I do now is to answer questions before my wife, and then people have to look at me.
Is there anything on your page that you've translated? Like, can I, like, is there, do you post the stuff that you get from America on your Facebook, on your Instagram page?
Yeah, at the moment, I will have to search now.
Oh, that's
So
okay.
because, and also we have been concentrated on the last events, and they sent me lots of videos, but I decided not to post because most of them were very violent, and we have some
Yes.
kids following our
Yes.
profile.
Yes. We need
So
peace right now.
yeah, we have like seven, 6 or 7 kids, which represent our collective, sending pictures almost on a daily basis. And because they are always there, I really don't like, posting very aggressive things.
No,
So I try
that's
not
fine.
to
Yeah.
post videos. Yeah, and there were many graphic videos about the riots in the United States, and they sent me lots of content, and I decided not to upload this.
No, no, no. We don't. We can see them on global. Like, we don't need it on there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a question for you. I remember 4 years ago when you said that. I remember you saying that whenever you would go out to a nice place with your black girlfriend, you would get weird looks, like a nice restaurant, because people just aren't used to seeing a black man and a black woman together. How have those looks changed now that you have a black family? I mean, maybe you haven't been out that much because we have the pandemic, but when you are out in the streets with your black family, how do people react to you guys?
Wow, it was surprising and amazing. I remember it was like those African movies, that sometimes there is a shooting. Somebody shoots a shotgun, and then all the animals raise their hands. Sometimes we step in a restaurant and people raise their hands like that, looking at us in shock, and it is surprising. And what I see is that, as we were saying before, this insistence of the media not to portray black families is a real agenda, because people are really not used to seeing black families together, because we arrive at places, people look at us in shock at hotels, restaurants, concerts, theaters. No matter where we go,
What?
people look in shock. Me, Taina, and Apollo. So, what I conclude is that people really don't expect a black family to be together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's not often that I see. I can't. I can probably name on one hand how many times I saw a black family just like in walking, just in not at a black event. Because if we go to a black event, we'll see a black family, but like a black family just running into a black family in Rio, it was rare. Wow, that's really rare. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But why is that? Why is
Unfortunately,
it
it
so
is.
rare? I mean, why do you think it's rare?
Well, we have lots of factors there. Lack of representativeness, I would say, first, in the media. So men don't believe they can be present fathers, good husbands, because they don't have reference. Toxic masculinity that teaches us since childhood that women are just for our pleasure and we are not supposed to marry them or engage or having any kind of commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Black genocides. One black man dies every 23 minutes in Brazil. So many men are really dying, and that this is the plain truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are lots of factors. Every man, every man knows a man who was killed, or knows a man who knows somebody who got killed in Rio de Janeiro.
That is,
So
even yourself, you know someone who's been killed.
exactly, exactly. I don't know a man who doesn't know somebody who got killed. I don't know. I guess every black man I know knows somebody who got killed. There was no exception up to now. If I
Mm,
know somebody, I will let you know. But so far, that's the case. So this shows how grave the scenario is.
mm-hmm,
We are getting killed like insects. Every day we have news, and
mm-hmm,
all ages. I saw today the news about the little boy, 5 year old. It's incredible.
mm-hmm,
It's incredible what they do to us, especially to black men. It looks like it's an agenda because I know people who studied in their doctorates slavery. And since that times, there is an agenda to reduce the number of black males. And
mm-hmm.
I really don't see a coincidence there. I think this is a political agenda. This is done on purpose, and this government is carrying it on
Mm.
as usual. Very sad.
We have a question from Ty Cromwell. He says, I'm a black man, and when I'm in Brazil, I feel as if black women don't like black men. Is this true?
Yeah, I guess there is something that we call self hate. That is the reflection of racism
Uh-huh.
on us. So I believe this plays a very strong role. We don't believe a black man might be a good husband, a
Mm,
respecting husband. We expect the prince to be white because we have always seen white prince in Disney cartoons
mhm,
ever since we were little kids. So why would we believe a prince could be black? We have
mhm,
never seen a black prince before. So I guess there is a strong relation there. Many people say that I'm tripping when I say this, but I really believe there is a connection. We are taught not to admire our fellow black brothers and sisters. So everything which is positive, we tend to look for in white people. Yeah, and
mhm,
that's why I promised myself that I would marry a black woman.
mm,
I made this promise, and some white women approached me, and I would always give an excuse or say something, but I always stick to that plan because I know there is an agenda for us to do otherwise.
mm,
Yeah, there is a plan for black people to hate themselves, and this is very sad.
mm. And we have another question. Monique Brazil. Welcome back, Monique. Monique always has, I mean, her questions are really deep. How do you see um how do I say this? Well, how do you see the way people treat little boys? Why do they attack little children? Is this on purpose? Or I guess she's trying to say is, um, do you sense that people despise the presence of black little boys? And why do they attack little children? Is this on purpose? Or maybe have you experienced this?
Yeah, yeah. I have really bad memories about this. I always like to read. I loved reading. That's why I studied English literature. And I remember when I was like 10 or 11, I was standing beside a newsstand, reading the news. And the owner, I don't know why, he thought that it would steal magazines. And then he pushed me away from the newsstands, and I didn't realize what was going on at the time. It took me two years, I guess, to understand it was a racist episode.
Mhm,
And people in Brazil are trained to see little black boys as thieves. They
mhm,
really think black children will try to steal their wallets, steal their cell phones, or will
mhm,
ask for money.
mhm,
People always expect that when they see black kids in Brazil. And there is a reflex. I guess it was yesterday, a woman called, I forgot her name, Nunes. She said on an Instagram live that most criminals are black. She's being criticized all over the media because she said this on an Instagram live, and everybody's commenting this. And that's how people see us, as criminals or potential criminals. And it starts in childhood. This is the most the scariest thing, because we
Mhm.
don't have even the rights to childhood. We are seen as threats since childhood, and this is really, really painful. And I will have to tell this to my son, and this is breaks my heart to know that one day I will have to tell Apollo that people will be afraid of him
Mhm.
because of his skin color. I know that this day will come, and it's really painful, because I don't even know how I'm going to do this. But I will
Mhm.
have to tell him one day to stay away from people, especially from white people, because they will be afraid of him on the streets.
Mhm.
It's really, the reality in Brazil, in my opinion, is really hard, really hard.
Yeah, I have to say that this is one thing that I didn't really expect to experience when I moved to Brazil. So, for example, like the first year I got to Brazil, I would be downtown in Rio, and then with maybe with another friend or two, and when the young men would come close to us, people would really get this sense of fear. Like, I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, why are you afraid of this 11-year-old kid? It was so strange to me. And over time, I began to understand what was going on, but I was just like, I didn't have, when I moved to Rio, I didn't have this instilled fear of young 11, 12, 13-year old men and young boys. um yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah,
um
this is true.
Looks like we have one more question. Now, I'm not sure, it's from me myself. He's actually has a question about people in Salvador. He said, he asked, is there more unity among Black people in Salvador Bahia? Do you think you can answer this? I know you're from Rio.
Well, I guess there is, because in our Instagram, we have like 17,000 people following us, and most of those people are from Bahia.
Really?
And
Really? Well, you're from
yeah, it's
Rio. Where are the
amazing.
Rio Black men?
Exactly, exactly. We have lots of followers in Salvador and in Bahia, because they have more history, with Black units, Black empowerment, I would say, because
Yeah.
this is connected to their culture,
Mhm.
Olodum culture. They have the African religions as well, very
Mhm.
strong there. In Rio de Janeiro, I guess Protestant religion, Christianity is stronger around here, and many blacks who belong to Christianity, unfortunately, are ashamed of their African ancestry. They don't like to be connected to Africa in no way. So,
But
in
how
these
have you
points,
overcome this? Are you a Christian? I mean, I assume you're a Christian, but I don't know.
yeah, I am. I am.
So how did
I
you
believe.
overcome this?
Yeah, I believe in Black theology.
Okay,
I
nice.
believe. I believe
But that's
Jesus
interesting
Christ.
because most of the people who I meet who believe in Black theology, most of them are Candomblé. Like, most of them have a stronger connection with Candomblé. So I actually find it very unique to meet, to know you, that you're a Christian and believe in Black theology. Is that, or do you disagree with me?
Yeah, exactly. People get surprised when I tell them that I'm Christian, because they expect what they call activists to be followers of African religions, which makes sense somehow.
Yeah, it
But
makes sense.
the the notion people have of Christianity is very narrow,
Yeah.
because the people they take as example are very bad examples, like the leaders we have in Brazil, they're very
Mhm.
poor, like Silas Malafaia, these guys, they are not to be taken seriously. So if
Mhm.
you want to take somebody for serious, you have to go to the ancient names, principally American names, because that's where the Black Church was born. So the
That's
Black
true.
Church, I mean, here in the West,
Yeah.
because if you look to Africa, you have in Ethiopia lots of history and lots of origins to study from, and some advantage I have is that I'm fluent in English, so it helps a lot because there is no literature about black theology in Brazil, which provides you with really rich material. At
No.
least I don't know. There might be, but I don't know yet. So in English, there are many things you can read to follow the footsteps,
Mhm.
of people like Juanilson Pacheco here in Brazil. He's in the United States now, but he's a great reference
Yeah,
in Black
actually, I need
theology.
to interview him. Isn't he? He's at Columbia. I heard he's at Columbia right now, or maybe he's
Yeah,
city.
yeah, he applied for Columbia and he got in, and he had a baby girl now, Olivia.
Ah,
He's
nice.
very happy there. Amazing. And we studied together for his TOEFL exam, and it was really nice to see.
Oh, nice. He
Uh,
studied with you. Okay.
yeah, I was really happy to see that he got his approval, and now he's there in the university. I'm really happy for them. And as I said before in the beginning, the thing is together, So his victory is my victory. My victory now in Christianity is also part of the books that he suggested me. So we are always growing together. I really don't believe in walking alone anymore. And this is something that whiteness gives us, this idea of the lonely wolf, the guy who is there and does everything on his own. He doesn't count on anyone. This is not African. This is not our tradition. This is not our ancestry.
Mhm.
And even decisions that might look personal, like the person you marry, the person you have a relationship, the career you follow, even this kind of decision is way better when you listen to other people. I can say this for sure. My marriage was um, assisted, I would say, by lots of people, lots of really important people, especially women. Lots of women helped me on this decision, helped me to deconstruct negative patterns of manhoods that I used to have. So together we are way stronger, way stronger. I really recommend people to join not necessarily our collective Pai Espíritos Presentes, but there are other collective around, there are other groups around. I think that this idea of being alone, I guess this is our tragedy as people.
Mhm. Wow, you have really inspired me. I feel happy. This has been an amazing conversation. Is there anything you want to tell our audience? I mean, you broke black manhood in Brazil down in this whole conversation. You broke it
Well, I would like just to say that no matter where you are or no matter who you are not alone. You can count on us. We are not a WhatsApp group. We are not a Instagram profile. We are not a Telegram group. We are not a Facebook page. We are a collective. We are a family. We are a Black family. So you will be welcome if you look for us. Never believe you are alone. I think this is the message that it's more the most urgent at the moment because lots of people are desperate, especially in these moments of social isolation. So don't believe this. You have brothers, you have sisters who are willing to listen to you, to share with you, to advise you, and to follow you in your daily life. So come here, come with us. You will be very much welcome, appreciated, and loved among us, no matter who you are, your gender, religion. We don't look at this. We
Nice.
just look at you. So I really invite you to join us.
And do you have to be a father or a mother to join?
No, not necessary at all. Any Black person can join us. We're very welcome there in our groups.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Great. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah.
See you around. Hopefully I can make it to Rio by August.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
And
Thank you so
tell
much.
Apollo I said bye. Bye, Apollo.
Oh yeah. Bye,
Bye.
Apollo.
Bye. 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 Bye.
See you.